What up everyone, welcome to Invictus Barber Academy, to the Modern Barber Blueprint course. This is where you can see it all. Today I'm gonna work with a straight hair. What I can see here, I'm gonna even it out the top. When I add a lot of texture, the picture he showed me, basically my models, they do what they like, and that's what I'm here for. It's not what I want. It's basically what the hair demands from you, what my client wants. So here I'm going to debulk. I'm gonna go very short, creating like a more slimmer face, a square look to the side. I'm gonna taper lower here. All around the head is gonna be short and give a little taper in the back. Basically, that's a very simple haircut, but at the end of the day, we're not gonna have this roundness, this fullness here. It's gonna be very tight, messy look. And my brother Daniel is gonna look fresh. Guys, first of all, I shampoo his hair. Working on clean hair is much better for the outcome. And now I'm apply a little bit of grooming. This product that I apply calls grooming for a reason, because it has memory effect. Now I'm gonna section the top. I'm gonna place my base. I'm gonna cut the whole top, make sure the top from here and above is gonna be ready. And then I'm gonna start working on my fade. Since I'm working with scissors first, I'm letting his hair a little damp so I can work with shears. The hair is nice and wet. Now I can see where the hair section itself. I'll always groom with my hands, and I'll slick the hair right on his scalp. Now I got the perfect section. I'm gonna start working with placing my baseline. He wants very tight and slimmer. We're gonna be working on a square shape. Same thing here on this side. I didn't even use the tip of my comb to section this hair, because the hair, it gives me that separation right where the head differ. So that's why I didn't sweep my comb. I just saw it where the hair gives me that nice and perfect separation where it needs to be, supposed to be. So now I'm placing my baseline on the mid recession. I'm gonna go horizontally, diagonally, so I can save a little bit more of the crown area. I don't want to cut too much. I'm gonna drop this right at the occipital bone. As you can see, my line, it drops right here, right at the occipital bone. So continue on the mid recession on the other side. Now I'm pointing my finger down, and I'm gonna meet and link those two lines. Now I got my baseline coming down here. Done. I'm gonna work on the top now. So now I'm just gonna polish the fringe, and I'm about to start cutting the top. So the fringe is already short. He wants to let it grow. He shaved his head months ago, and the hair is still in the process of growing. Just gonna add some point cutting technique here to add some more texture. There was no much here. So now I'm going to create my profile guide on the top. So from my profile guide, I'm choosing my length, how much I'm cutting, how much I'm leaving, and now my shape, okay? Got my profile. I'm just gonna add some texture, no much of length. Hair is pretty short. So since now I cut it rounded, I'm gonna follow around it, both sides, so I could be able to cut both sides. Now I need my profile guide to one side, and I can definitely start cutting off from the fringe. It doesn't have as much length. So I'm adding some texture to create more movement into his hair, into his style. At the end, what we aiming for, it's more something a lot more like a massy look. It's still contemporary style. So one side is done. Now I'm gonna focus on this side, following my profile guide. My profile always going to be on the center of the head. Always going to be here, that's my length. I'm gonna cut the rest, left and right and left, following my profile. But now basically, I want to create a corner here, more strength, with more structured. What I'm gonna do, I'm connecting, holding the head down, elevated to my base. As you can see here, we have a little bit overlapping. So since I'm bringing out all the hair from the top and connecting in horizontally like this, I'm creating more strength here and more structure. Now guys, I'm adding some texture. I'm slicing this hair a little bit, because at the end when we finish, we're gonna be using a matte effect paste and also a volume powder, texturizing powder, and this will give it a different look, more texture, more movement, more fullness. Once you twist the hair like this and you cut it with the shears, we don't close the shears all the way. You twist the hair, pull it up, and you adding textures as well. You're not cutting length, you're cutting certain areas that you're pulling up, but not everything. I'm about to debulk. I'm using 2 cloves. As you can see, I go all the way to my base only, scooping out. Before I fade any hair, all I do, I make sure I clean the area first to see what is under. Basically, a lot of hair or head has a lot of flaws, and you need to see and understand what is under here. Now I can see if there's no scar or cowlick. Now I'm working more comfortable. Basically now I'm using 1.5 closed, and I quick tap 1.5 open to connect with 2, but I push my line all the way up there. On the bottom here, on the line, the hairline, what do? I basically work with 1.5 close. When I get further up, I use 1.5 open. Closed. When you work with fade, it's very delicate because you need to know how high you're going with each guard. Otherwise, either if you're staying too low, you're not cutting, you're not cleaning, you're not blending, or if you're going too high, you might end up cutting too much into the previous guard. Now I just put it number 1. When I start open, when I do the same, I'm gonna push, I'm gonna clean the hair all the way up to 1.5, 1 open. Now close, work very, very low on the hairline, because at the end, what I'm gonna end up doing is a fade, a taper fade around this area. If you work with the 1 close, sometimes I'll just kick the lever a little bit and open up a little bit if I wanna go higher. I'm gonna clean down a little more the sides, a little lower around the hairline. With half closed, as you can see, I just create another line up there, go back, just clean that area and blend that line. Back here the same, but half closed. So behind the ears is basically where all the flaws, we got some dents, most of cowlicks will be around this area. So that's where is the most challenge spot that we're working on. But I have a secret. My secret is stretch the fade. So there's a little dent here, and then just stretch the fade on those areas, making that area less dense because if there was a dent, illusion that you look and then you're gonna see more hair there that is dark. It looks that you haven't faded well there, but it's the dent. I'm going to create a 0, leaving my C cup a little darker, and work right here on the center. Trimmer, now shaver. So now my goal is to blend this line, but it stretch a little bit since I use half. Now I'm gonna start blending those lines with the 0 open. Since you have very little space here, I work with the corner. So before I work with the corner, I work with the full blade, stretching the center, leaving here and here darker. Use my texturizing shears, starting here lower into the bulk of the hair, soften this area more. Still with my texturizing shears, I always start low on the fade because I kind of blend where it's dark, where it's dense into the fullness. Now blending shears, the difference between both is one remove lots of weight, the other one just does more of texture. So this one remove a lots of density. So now since I'm using the blending shears, I'm gonna use the barbering comb to work low, because now the barbering comb is so small, so thin, that I can get very close to the skin, very close to the fade, right beneath this density right here. Now just gonna clean it under. I like to use lots of scissors over comb because I have control over how much I'm cutting. Because if you just blend here or go with the clippers, I don't have enough control. This I have total control with. Basically using point cutting technique to pick some denser spots. I can go higher up here with the scissors, but I cannot do this with the clippers, it's too high. Now using shears because of that. Now it's time to work on our C cup. Always started like placing the horizontal line over here, and then I find my way up, connecting both lines. I want to clean this area a little bit before. Now working on my first line. Now I connect both. So now I'm cleaning up my C cup. Cleaning up the other side. I always like to go against the grain so that line will be crispy. So guys, to finalize, at the beginning, I used a little bit of mix. I combined a little bit of the styling powder with the matte clay paste. Now I'm going to finish with a tiny bit more. All I want is to place my powder on the roots all around, and a tiny bit more product. Now I don't need that much, just because it's already there, spread well. You need to use your creativity. As you can see, I'm lifting the hair back here, and slowly, the hair falls down, following the forehead shape. So now you have to be creative, just because everything you worked on needs to come up to life. So now basically now we're gonna use a no heat and low pressure. I'm gonna blow this hair up, and I'm gonna spray in front of the spray. I wanna lift all this, and I'm gonna spray under. That way the hair stays up. It's still spraying. I wanna lift the hair up, as you guys could see. I want that up just like that. Guys, this is the final outcome. All you need to know is have understanding about the techniques. If you know the style, now you learn the techniques to be able to apply. That's what you're gonna get at the end of the day, because having knowledge and having understanding about the techniques you're going to be applied, you have total control of the style you've been creating. Hope you guys like. See you guys in the next class.